SGA once again. Little hesitation. The left hand. What a move by SGA.
Another block. Chet Holmgren, the long arm of the law.
Back in the game. These are key minutes without SGA. And another drive. J. Dom cocks it back and throws it down.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast. Coming to you live Thursday, May 15th. Gentlemen, they tell me it's the two best words in all of sports. Game 7. It's the Thunder lose in Denver tonight, 119-107 in Game 6. And it comes back to Oklahoma City for one final one, Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. Got my guy, J.D. Silva here.
Fellas, I don't like being in a classic playoff series.
We got Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody.
We've got Taylor Peterson.
Zaza said it best. Game 7, baby, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, guys.
You let Zaza down with that.
I did.
Yeah, so the Thunder lose 119-107. I guess I should plug everything first. We're brought to you by Blue Wire Podcast Network and our buddies over at Prairie Artisan Ales. What's up, Prairie? Thank you guys for everything. You can join our Patreon and hop into the Discord. It was a wonderful place to be tonight, I heard.
I heard.
Sources tell the uncontested.
It actually, honestly, until the very end, I was very proud of the Discord tonight. They kept it together. Cannot vouch for what's happening in there right now.
Yeah.
Or in our comments on YouTube right now.
Yeah. Lauren's got it down in the chat already. Crash Out Olympics for real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow us on our social media channels, sub to the YouTube page. Thunder lose Game 6 in Denver, 119-107. We're going to break that one down and then look at Game 7. Real quick, I just want to read off these stats. The Thunder and the Nuggets shoot nearly identical from the field tonight, 46.7 to 46.5. The two places where the game really was lost for OKC, 3-point percentage. Thunder made 11 threes. Nuggets made 12. But the Nuggets shot 10% better because they shot less threes than the Thunder. And then free throws. The Thunder took 16. The Nuggets took 32. Double the free throws. It's a little skewed because the Thunder fouled down late trying to get the ball back. But the Thunder only shot 62% on their free throws. Nuggets out-rebounded the Thunder. I thought that was really evident in the fourth quarter. Assists were about even. Steals were about even. Blocks were about even. Denver turned the ball over more, but it was even on points conceded off turnovers. Points in the paint were even. Thunder had 12 more fouls than the Nuggets. Again, that's a little inflated, but all night it was hovering between the 6 to 8 mark.
Yep.
And the Thunder just lost this one. I thought when Shai had to step out there at the end of the first half for the fourth foul, Thunder had a 10-point lead, kind of let go of the rope there. They had survived the opening haymaker from Denver, and just could never get their feet back under them again. Lots of things to talk about this one. Can we come to an agreement right now before we dive any more into this game? Real quick.
Suicide pact.
Are we drawing some boundaries?
We're trading dub.
Like, the discourse is so freaking negative about this team and about like the performance in the playoffs. Like, we're in the second round going to Game 7 against what like everyone says the winner of this series is going to be the NBA champion. Like, tons of smart NBA people believe that. It was never going to be easy. And it's going to be a war. And the Thunder lost tonight, and that happens. This is why you win 68 games in the regular season. So the Game 7 is in your building. Right?
True.
Like that's why you do this, guys. And if they lose in 7, they lose in 7. I think they're going to come home and win.
If he dies, he dies.
But can we not crash out on the show? Can we make that agreement?
I don't think I can promise that, but I'll do my best.
Oh my goodness, Justin.
No promises.
I won't be crashing out. I'll be crashing in.
There we go.
Fair enough.
If you want to see me crash out, come back Sunday.
That's
Smoot
Oh, yeah.
says it was never going to be easy, says the guy who said Thunder in 5.
I was thinking it.
Nah.
Thank you for saying it, Smoot.
Yeah,
I at least said Thunder in
Here.
6.
Yeah.
I will own up to this. I did predict that, and maybe this can lead us into one of our first topics here. A large part of that prediction is I just thought J-Dub would play better, and the margins of victory show that if he shot his normal percentages, they'd probably be winning a lot of these damn games. But
Or halfway between what he's shooting and his normal percentages, even.
or not just J-Dub, but the team as a whole.
Yeah,
Right.
That was my on our series preview show. On our series preview show, the Thunder win this series if answer was if they can make shots. They have not done
they
that.
have not.
And that's why we're headed to game 7. It was a concern in the sweep, which is sometimes hard to find concerns in a sweep. But that was it. It was glaring, and that was it. And it has not gotten better, and that's concerning. It's concerning even if they win game 7. When does it get better? That's the question for this Thunder team. Who can score when you have to have a bucket? Shai got it going tonight, which was a first. Not a first, maybe a second for the series. Everybody did it in game 3. But that one blowout aside.
Game 2, but you're correct.
Yeah, anyway.
2, 5, and 6 have been really good for SGA largely, but he's the only guy.
Yeah. Dub inefficient, missed easy ones, shot hard ones that he shouldn't have shot. Did a good job playmaking. Like if you want to find a bright spot, made some good plays. But typically, it's a rule of thumb, not a hard and fast rule. Role players play better at home, worse on the road. For me, that's the story of tonight's game. Denver's role players stepped up. Julian Strother, we're calling
Game
this
of
the
his
Julian
life.
Strother game, which was not on my bingo card.
No, it's
And we're
not
calling
good.
it that for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's not because Julian Strother is awesome. It's because they got an insane outlier performance from a
Yeah.
bench guy who hasn't been able to be on the floor this entire series.
But,
But
I
he
totally agree. The challenge is Dub's role right now on this team is second option. But he's also in his 3rd year, facing real playoff adversity for, we could say the second time, I guess, right? Like it's still new. This team is incredibly young. Everyone's young. You can, Taylor got mad at me the last time I said that. I'm not making an excuse. It's just a fact of the matter. This team is untested, and they're being tested right now. And some are failing the test. And that's a part of growth. And I think you want to see your second option not fall into the role players play better at home and worse on the road trap. But that's been true of Dub lately. Though he didn't particularly play well at home in the last game either. But
That's the thing.
this team is they're taking their lumps, and they've got a massive challenge on their hands for Sunday, the biggest they've faced yet, against a guy and a team that has a lot of experience in this situation.
So, Jacob, I think you have thoughts on this. But before that, we're talking about Dub. We haven't read his stat line off yet. I'll go ahead and do so. 6 points for Dub, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. He got off to a great start, which is what I think, Jacob, you probably want to dive into. You were mentioning it in our group text in the Discord, but 3 of 16 from the floor, 0 of 4 from 3. He did have 3 steals, 3 fouls, 3 turnovers. Jacob did a little bit of everything except score the basketball, which is what this team needs best, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball well, and I thought he got the yips late.
Yeah.
Got blocked on the outlet, like fast break, smoked the dunk, right? That
Stuff hurts.
That's yips.
The stuff
is what that is.
The stuff that bothered me tonight, outside of that, and it wasn't just Dub, but when Dub did it, it felt loud to me. It's something I said last game, probably the last few games. the early shot clock jumpers from this team are driving me bananas.
Yeah.
That's what Denver wants. And you're letting them off the hook. If they're going to sit in zone and you are going to come down and not pass the ball, or at most make one pass and take the first open jumper you find, that's exactly what Denver wants. You just have to make them work.
There was a lot of stuff down the stretch too, where like Shai would have the ball, be trying to do something, and it was two guys in the corners and two guys at the elbows, or dunker spot corner elbow, just kind of standing and watching.
Yes.
And there's no screening.
And they've done that every game in this series at times.
It's kind of like they get away from it. And then, but late in this game, whenever it was too late, they kind of put their foot on the gas and were able to make some things happen. Now that is not sustainable. Like, you can't play the 5 guard lineup.
No.
And just try to turn them over every possession. Like, that's not going to be sustainable. I thought there was a lot of good from this game, guys. But when you look at this series, we're 6 games in. We could nitpick this thing to hell. At the end of the day, though, the team who wins one of these games is the team that shot better from 3.
Yep.
It's been that way in all 6 games.
And the free throw line.
And you got to hit your threes. And the Thunder got open looks, and I like the looks that they got, and they just didn't go in. And so I mean, what do you attribute that to? You're going to tell me they're all shitty shooters? Like, I don't believe that. I watched them shoot the same shots for 2 seasons now. Like, I know Chet is a good shooter. I know Dub is a good shooter. I know Dort is a 40% shooter. I know Shai is like a 37% shooter. They're all shooters on volume. The shots just aren't going in. Is it nerves? Is it being too tight? Is it rushing? I don't know, but they're still getting the shots they want. They're open looks. And you can't tell. I mean, you can say the words to me, they're not good shooters, but it's going to fall on deaf ears. I'm not going to believe you.
But I don't think that matters, Jacob. Like, that's an excuse at some point. Yet again, the Thunder, this has been a theme for the entirety of the series. Tonight, they shot 8 more 3-point attempts than the Nuggets. At a certain point, you have to break down the zone.
Yep.
And
I thought they got like a lot of layups there in that fourth quarter, but whenever you're down 16,
too late at that point.
You're going to have to shoot threes. It's a math game
and
as
it's
well,
given Shai, it's given Dub, it's given our ball handlers hell the entire series. So at a certain point, you can't rely on that. It can't be your bread and butter. You have to get back to what's best, which is getting steals, deflections, defensively, keeping up the pace, and getting out into transition.
I agree, but you know as well as I do that in that zone, the open shot that gets created is the corner 3, because as you get the ball into the lane on the zone collapses, you spray out to shooters.
Yeah.
So part of it is like also taking the open shot. Like, what's better, like a Lou Dort open 3 or a collapsed zone Shai floater from 10? Like, and we could have that conversation.
At this point, it might be Shai.
I know. But they're making the right plays. They're taking the shots that are there that are designed to get open. Just the variance is bad.
And when it comes down to the playoffs, time after time, it's the big players who are able to step up and big opportunities. I mean, we're seeing what's happened to the East. The Celtics about to lose. We had the Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs about to lose. And Jalen Brunson and the Knicks about to win because he gets it done in clutch time. And you have to have somebody outside of Shai who's able to do so. You're not wrong, Jacob. And the Thunder are still playing their brand of basketball in that sense, making the right reads. But at a certain point, you need people to step up.
Yep.
And this series, Shai was great tonight. But throughout the series, it's just one player or the other. They aren't stepping up together as a team outside of that fourth quarter stretch.
That's what I was going to say. The fourth quarters are the only time when that's happening. And to your point about breaking down the zone, aside from getting drive and kick and kicking out to an open 3-point shooter, which again, they credit to the Thunder. They have hit those shots in big moments in multiple games this year. That's why they won game 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. They're also finding success getting inside, and they didn't do enough of that tonight.
I agree.
When they get behind the zone, and it doesn't have to be an oop. It's really pretty when it's an oop, but just finding a guy in the dunker spot that slips behind the zone, the Thunder have to do more of that. They started to do some of that late in this game. Like you said, they didn't put themselves in position to actually, have their run mean anything. They have to do more of that in Game 7.
But one thing I wanted to correct myself on after jumping on the pod after some of these games throughout the series and going back and looking at some of the highlights and rewatching some of the quarters, and you have to give a lot of credit to Denver, to Adelman, the way he's coaching this game.
Agreed.
It's not just a 2-3 zone every single time, or it's not just 2-3 zone one possession and then it's man-to-man the other. They're throwing so many different looks, and not only Shai, but the just different defensive looks as a whole. I mean, it's incredibly impressive, and it's obviously thrown these Thunder players off, including Dub. We can talk about his wrist all we want. We can talk about Shai, being off all we want, but ultimately they're throwing so many different looks defensively at the Thunder, possession by possession. I think that makes it really tough to just say you have to get behind the zone, right?
I feel a little dumb looking back at my predictions for this series when I was just resting my laurels on the Thunder have a way better roster. Like 1 to 10, the Thunder are better. But I don't think I considered enough the value in the Nuggets being battle tested since like 2019. Like this same core, those same 3-4 guys have been in moment after moment together, failure after failure. Finally, they win a championship. They've been there before. They've been all the way there before. I discredited the value in that, and I thought that talent would win out, and it still may. The talent might still win out, but Steve Jones always says like the playoffs are the regular season is more of a talent battle, but the playoffs are can you solve this specific problem in this specific moment? And the Nuggets, Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, they can solve pretty much any problem you throw at them in a given moment. And the Thunder
they just have that experience, kind of what you're getting at.
They have the experience. I mean, it helps having it helps having Jokic who is amazing, but they have the experience.
Well, and I think a great example of that, JD, is the year the Nuggets won the title. Who was their opponent?
Who was their opponent?
It's been a lot of basketball since then.
Was it the Heat?
It was the Heat. It was that like mediocre Heat team.
Yep.
Yeah.
They didn't have the talent, but they had just been through the wars before, and I think you're spot on.
Culture, baby.
The regular season highlights your strengths, and the postseason really attacks those weaknesses.
And also
the Thunder weakness is youth and inexperience,
and also half-court offense. I think has been a challenge this season, and I think that the transition buckets overcame a lot of the struggles in the half-court offense and the non-Shai minutes, right? Like these are not new topics that we're talking about tonight. It's stuff we touched on all season long. In a playoff series that gets amped up, and the Nuggets are doing a great job taking advantage of it so far in this series. I same thing you said earlier, Taylor. Credit Adelman. I think coming into this series, that was one of the things I didn't expect. Adelman seems like a plus for this team, and I didn't expect that.
Agreed.
It's a gutsy move to fire your coach in April, but so far it seems like the right move for Denver.
Hey, for what it's worth, just so everybody knows, everyone that's podcasting right now on a microphone and everybody listening, series ain't over.
It's not over.
Listen, buddy, I'm just giving him his props.
I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that about you specifically.
Okay.
We're 20 minutes in. This feels like an obituary.
I'm afraid of us if this goes poorly. Us, the collective us, like the media, fans, looking back and saying, why couldn't they beat that Denver team? They were so much better than that Denver team. There's just more to the conversation than that, I think. And we're outlining that now, obviously.
Yeah. Hey, let's say some good things. Taylor, you got something nice to say?
No.
Yeah, you shouldn't have gone to Taylor first. He's on a heater tonight.
I've been on a heater for the entire series, I feel like. But no, Shai finally looked like Shai again. And we talked about that after Game 5. Shai being able to break down the zone, the man-to-man, the different defensive matchups that he was presented, and then making the right reads. Obviously, he hurt his hand there when Russ hit the ball, whatever it was. I'm not entirely sure during the first half, and he continued to perform very well. The biggest issue with Shai was he had 4 fouls in the first half, and that took him out for a majority of the third quarter. And that really hurt this team because Shai was the one who truly had it going. 32 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 11 of 16 from the floor, and 2 of 4 from 3 on top of 8 of 11 free throws. You got the Shai game that we finally wanted, right? He looked more like himself. Not just like, I mean, I know he's had great stats, but for like a majority of the game, it felt like he played his game again. He got to his spots and was finally making those shots, which we didn't even see that much in the first series of the playoffs. Tonight, I thought he was much better, but the foul trouble really kind of plagued him and the Thunder. And not just him, but Hartenstein. Obviously, Jay Will came in and continued to provide great minutes, was incredibly impactful off the bench, but he also has to sit because he immediately picks up 4 fouls. But the other positive, I think, is Chet Holmgren. He didn't get a ton of opportunity tonight, but in the opportunity he did get, I thought he was fantastic. 19 points, 11 rebounds, 8 of 14 from the floor. The issue is half of those shots came from the 3-point line. He was only 2 of 7.
Yep. Well, Taylor took all the positives.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it.
I was going to bring up Jay Will. I think he continues to be a really nice piece in this series. More great minutes tonight. Not afraid to go chest to chest with Jokic, which is not something that a lot of players in this league can say. Was absolutely crucial when you had Hartenstein with 4 fouls to be able to have Jay Will. You mentioned Jay Will picked up 4 fouls in 14 minutes, but to be able to have someone you can bring in and eat 4 fouls in 14 minutes is huge.
We want. The issue was
otherwise Hartenstein would have been fouled out.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it also took him out of the game. So
it's great. No, it did.
It works when Ihart and Chet are in extreme foul trouble.
But name another team that feels good-ish about the 2 guys you can throw at Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a plus.
Absolutely.
And Jokic had a Jokic game, right? He had a solid game, but it wasn't like he went crazy like he did in game 5 in which the Thunder won. 29 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, 9 of 14.
29, 14, and 8. It's not like you went crazy. That's just
that's Jokic.
I know. That's a wild phrase.
But that's the most assists, I believe. Somebody stat checked me on this, but I think I heard this. The most assists that he's had in the series.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Because the other players stepped up.
JD, I want you to talk a little bit about the other bench guys, specifically Caruso, Cason Wallace, and Aaron Wiggins. But before we do that real quick, I just want to say, you're talking about guys who had good games. I hope Jamal Murray goes home and shits his pants.
Flu game Jamal. He was incredible.
He wasn't sick at all. Lying bastard.
That's what I think.
I mean, he looked pretty sick on the sideline.
He did look sick.
He had like heating pads on his belly.
Remember when I bet that J-Dub would score more points than Jamal in the series? What a dickhead.
It's all your fault, Silva.
Anyway, positives. We might have some questions about some young guys on the team and their playoff productivity dropping. I have no questions or concerns about Cason Wallace in the postseason. That is a playoff riser. He's awesome. I wish he could play every minute. He's so impactful when he's out there. He might pick up a dumb foul every once in a while, but it feels like every other minute he is a one-man fast break down the other end after a steal. He's amazing.
Yep. He's a menace. 27 minutes for Cason and Caruso tonight, which is awesome.
Both were 4 and 9. Both were 2 of 5 from 3.
Yep.
One had 4 rebounds. One had 4 assists. They combined for 5 steals.
They were awesome.
And 20 points. Yeah, they kicked butt, dude.
Wiggins, the one of that trio that did not have a good game tonight. That's kind of, showed up the last 2. Again, going back to the point of home versus road for role players, that's a change I would expect in game 7 is decent performance from Wiggins. Curious to see how deep Mark goes in a game 7.
Agreed. And it's interesting looking at these minutes, the minutes distribution, because like you guys mentioned, you have 27 with Caruso, 26 or 27 with Cason, which is kind of what we've been asking for, I think, throughout, when we jump on these post-game podcasts throughout the series. And those minutes kind of came from Lou Dort. Lou Dort only played 21 minutes out of all the starters. And some of this is due to foul trouble. I get it. J-Dub, 37 minutes, and maybe his worst game. I don't want to say of his career. That's not fair, but his worst playoff game of his career, I think. Shai had 34 minutes, even with the foul trouble. Chet had 30. Ihart with 25 with his foul trouble as well, but still played a decent amount. 37 minutes for J-Dub. I get it. You roll with your guys. We saw that.
I think some of that is due to Shai's foul trouble.
It is.
And I think some of the performance is also due to Shai's foul trouble.
Absolutely.
It is.
He was put in less than ideal situations, and he didn't rise to the occasion.
But my point is like, is there more minutes, especially this series, the way this series is played out? We're heading to Game 7. It feels like there's more minutes for Alex Caruso and Cason Wallace. It doesn't have to come from one individual player like J-Dub or Lou Dort. But I would like to see that minutes distribution be a little more balanced with those two getting more in Game 7.
I mean, I think 27 is a lot for the two of them, though. You know,
it is. It is.
I think if Caruso plays more than 27 minutes in a game, his body will crumble like Legos. Like
I'm not sure I agree.
His level of intensity while he's out there is so high.
Right.
And then, guys, I just think the other thing from tonight was the Thunder got down early and closed the first quarter so well.
Yep.
But then second, third, and fourth, I guess they kind of closed the fourth quarter well. But the second, third quarter is where they lost it. That, and then the stretch from the end of the third through the fourth, where they went like 0 of 13 from 3.
Yep.
That'll do it for you.
That'll do it for anybody.
I know. Let's do this. Let's jump to the King of the Prairie. And then I know that you guys have some Game 7 statistics, and then I have some opinions on Game 7 statistics. So we'll do all that. But first, let's start with the King of the Prairie. Justin, will you tell us about Prairie?
I would love to tell you about Prairie because there's probably no better place to watch Game 7 on Sunday than Prairie Artisan Ales.
Or
2:30 p.m. You can go get some $3 pours of Prairie all day on game day. So show up early, grab your spot, get some buzzer beater or fourth quarter or German pills or Shai's secret stuff, and hopefully watch this Thunder team pull out a gritty win to move to the Western Conference Finals.
Guys, who are we going for King of the Prairie tonight, JD?
I'm gonna go with SGA. Just bread and butter pick for me.
Yeah, Taylor.
Can't disagree. Shai was awesome outside of the fouls. That fourth foul there in the fourth quarter.
Second
quarter, not fourth.
Yeah.
Thank you. Was a little inexcusable, but ultimately he was incredible and looked more like the Shai we're accustomed to. So I could not agree more.
Justin.
Agreed. It has to be Shai.
I'm going Shai as well. Justin, I also know that we have some super chats. Do we want to hit those before?
That we do. Prepare for the roller coaster that is our super chats tonight. We have, first up, this was like the second we went live. Ant-Man must trade Dub. Can't offer J Scrub a max contract.
I have two things to say. Thanks for the $2. Next.
Next question.
Taylor will answer your question offline.
They're not trading Dub. They're not trading Dub.
And don't make that conclusion after one game in the playoffs or multiple games or whatever.
Our guy Dave said, "You look helpless without me. Thought I could take a game off. Thunder in 7." And then he follows up saying, "Also consider me King of the Prairie if they win Game 7."
That's right.
That's 3 of 4 because I couldn't help Game 1. So Dave has shown up in the post-game shows to drop a super chat and will us to victory in the following game. So hopefully,
and it works.
Hopefully the double super chat pulls through for Game 7.
That's right.
Come on, Dave. Thank you for your service, Dave. Can I get a salute for Dave, please?
Salute for Dave.
Salute for Dave.
And then we have our guy, Fred Van Skeet. Chet is the answer. Let him cook. He's the only guy that can get his shot up over everyone. Need him aggressive. Number 2 pick. Let's let him work.
I like it. I like Chet attacking the basket.
Agreed. And I think there are some things that the Thunder can do to get him in more, get him in motion to be able to attack the rim more.
6 of 7 inside the arc tonight, and the one I thought was a foul, and they didn't call it.
Yep.
You know what would be nice is if Chet didn't take 4 seconds to shoot.
Yes.
He's got a long load up. And that'll come with time. Shai used to have a really long load up, and now it's not.
Shorten that load
That's a
up.
good point.
She said. He also needs to take a page out of Jokic's book and get the ball up higher when he's shooting from behind the arc. He for as big as he is, he should be able to
Like a Kawhi
never get
trajectory.
blocked. Like
Come on,
Jokic,
Chip England.
look,
Do your
Jokic
job.
is the extreme example, but he puts that ball where no one can get close to it.
Yeah.
Chet
Literally
should not
behind
be
his
getting.
head.
Chet should not be having a 3-pointer tipped ever.
Hey, speaking of Jokic, if they win Game 7, there is like it's not a farm, but there's like a house with some land down the street from me that has a horse.
Yeah.
I'll go shoot the horse.
Gosh.
All right.
I don't think you can say that.
I don't know if you can
Shout
say
out
that.
Jokic.
For legal purposes,
terrible.
that was the joke.
The uncontested is not endorsed shooting
Oh boy.
animals or people.
Justin,
I heard you got some Game 7 stats.
Yeah, so while we were waiting to fire up, Silva and I were looking back at list of Game 7s, recent Game 7s. Some interesting things stood out. Everyone talks about like, oh man, like Game 7, it's going to go down to the wire. It's going to be the best game ever. Interestingly enough, looking at post-bubble Game 7s, because that feels like a decent sample size, there's been 14 games. The average margin of victory, does anyone have a guess? Other than Silva.
17 points.
Taylor?
The way you're phrasing this makes me think it's
the
that.
way you're phrasing this. Fine, it's 16.2 points. Too slow,
Hey, I was
Taylor.
close.
Well done.
16.2 points average margin of victory. Now, there were some close games in there, but there's a lot of blowouts in Game 7, and I think it's just the game where you see the dam break, right? Like, these series are back and forth one way or another. It's such an emotional game that I think that's probably why that happens. Now, can you guess the home team's record in Game 7s?
How many games?
14 games since the bubble.
I think this is when I joined the pod. While you guys
Okay,
were
don't
testing
answer.
This,
This
so
question
no
is just
answer.
for Jacob.
7-7.
5-9.
5-9.
The home team is 5-9 in Game 7s since the 2021 season. Now, you could probably unpack that and look at individual matchups, and there's a lot of nuance to statistics, especially when the sample size is only 14 games. But that didn't feel as good as I thought it was going to when I started looking down the game list.
That's what she said.
Like you said, Jacob, the reason you win 68 games in the playoffs is to have Game 7 be on your home court. So the Thunder have to show up.
Yeah.
They're going to have to overcome some history.
Well. Don't you try to be Mr. Stat Guy on the podcast, Justin.
Yeah,
'cause
too
I have
late,
a
Taylor.
stat
I got
for
more.
you.
I got
No.
more.
Okay, well, I got one when you're done.
Jokic has played in 6 Game 7s. Does anyone know his record in Game 7s?
Probably pretty good. 4-2.
Let me count my screenshot here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He is 4-2.
Cool. Yes, he's 4-2. He is 4-2. Interestingly enough, I did not verify this stat, but I read it on Twitter, so it has to be true. This is his first Game 7 on the road.
Interesting.
He played a handful in the bubble, so obviously no road test there, but the rest have been at home. And then we've had some people in the chat tonight. I think it's a good reminder. Like I said, there's so much context behind everything. Denver's been tested. They've been in a lot of Game 7s. Jokic has been in 6 of them. Thunder players haven't. The Nuggets just blew a 20-point lead in a Game 7 at home. Like, that just happened last year. Yes, they've been tested, but they've also done that very recently. And I think it's a good reminder of, the adage of anything can happen in a Game 7, I think comes from moments like that.
Well, Justin just threw me the lob, and I'm about to slam it down
there it
like
is.
I'm Isaiah Hartenstein. The Nuggets are now plus 41 in the second halves of home games this postseason. Do you guys want to guess what they are in the second halves on the road? Plus 41 at home in the second half. What are they?
The whole season or –
in the road? In the postseason.
playoffs? Okay.
-41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41. 41.
Well, the stat is heavily influenced by the comeback in Memphis.
Fair. No, we're talking Nuggets, not Thunder.
Oh, the Nuggets. Pardon me. Yeah, I think they're probably bad. Negative 35.
Silva?
Sorry, I've been monitoring our comments here to make sure that people aren't going too far with some things.
Just say a number.
31.
Thank you.
Woo! Silva is the winner.
Really?
The Nuggets are now plus 41 in the second house of home games this postseason and minus 30 in second house on the road.
Nice.
So,
So
little reason for optimism, I guess.
Let's go.
there you go. So all the game 7 stats are interesting and they're fun to dive into.
Are they?
End of the day, it's one game. Like
Correct. Let's
Anything
talk
can
game
happen.
7.
I know I'm gonna sound like I'm jumping sides of the fence here. The statistics are cool, but what the hell does a Denver game 7 in the bubble have to do with Thunder Denver on Sunday night? Or what the hell does a
True.
game 7
Yeah.
between the Celtics and the Knicks? I don't know which game 7s have happened in the recent years, but
That is one of them.
there you go. How does that have any impact on what happens on Sunday?
Yep.
You know, like I don't know what you can exactly take from that.
It's about this series. And what we've seen is it's been
And this is a
absolute
close
dogfight.
ass series.
We're
It's
talking
been on the edge of the razor, the edge of the knife,
yes.
the entire series. And I think that's going to be what it comes down to on Sunday and which team can execute. I think both teams know what they want to take away. Both teams know how they want to attack. And it's going to come down to who can execute and who can make shots.
Exactly.
And it's going to be interesting to see how that works.
Game 7s are game 7s for a reason. You've seen every adjustment that the opposing team can throw at you. That doesn't mean that Mark's not going to throw out some wrinkle or something in game 7.
Give me Kenrich Williams, baby. Have him come in
Which,
there,
with the
use
foul trouble,
Jokic's nutsack like a drum.
and pull a Draymond Green.
Yeah,
Kill 'em.
there's so many nuances. Exactly like you said, Jacob. Like that's why game 7s are what they are, is because it is about the back and forth throughout a series. It's also interesting to remember some of the nuances within this series. So we have the Nuggets already coming off a game 7. So playing 2 game 7s in a row. I'm curious how many times that's happened. Like two game 7s, 2 series in a row.
Yeah.
That feels significant in terms of we've talked this entire series of like, man, the Nuggets have to be gassed. 2 game 7s in a row is going to wear you out. Also interesting, on the flip side of the coin, this is the first time we get 2 days off. So the NBA set this up so that, like, for the first time all series, these teams have an extra day off, which again, I feel like is probably not the norm for game 7s. Usually the back half of the series gets condensed. And then you have to wonder, this has been my conspiracy. I texted you guys this earlier today. When are we getting the MVP? My conspiracy that I sent you this morning is the NBA is waiting to announce it tomorrow or Saturday, and they're going to give Shai the trophy either before game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals or game 1 of the Western Conference finals. Either way, that's like exactly what the NBA would want. That's an ideal TV scenario to present Shai an MVP, whether or not the Thunder won tonight. We now know it's going to be a game 7.
Mm-hmm. The whistle tonight would suggest that they won the game.
I'm not going there, but
Not wrong.
Hey,
what does that do?
conspiracies are
What does
real.
that do to Shai? What does that do to Jokic? Like, again, has that ever happened before?
That's
I
another
haven't. I
factor.
should have probably researched it, but like,
Probably
that's
not,
a
dude.
wild scenario. Jokic going to be staring over at the MVP trophy like Russ, and
He has
is
3.
Shai
He'll
going to
be
get
fine.
an MVP bump, or is it going to be like give him the spooks and he's going to
Jokic
lose it
revenge
like
game.
LeBron's, scoring night game? I don't know.
I tweeted something out, and the Wolves fans came after me, and Knicks fans came after me because started to get into their algorithms or whatever you want to call it. But this feels like the finals. I'm not sure.
I'm not
and
there
again,
yet.
I'm
I'm not there.
saying if the Thunder or Nuggets win the series, they're going to win the finals. But I could also see them losing 2 more series that they should win because of the dogfight that this series has been. I'm not sure you're going to get a better series than this, is what I was getting at. Moving forward.
I'm
It's
glad
a great
there's
series.
I'm glad there's 2 days off between. That's plenty of time for J-Dub to go see a priest.
Or an
And,
exorcist.
and all of
Smoke more
us.
cigarettes.
Yeah.
All right, hey, let's get out of here. Last thing, we're gonna end on some positivity.
Wow.
I'm gonna phrase it correctly, so it is ending on positivity. Like, here's the thing: like, so many people tune in this podcast, and I've been going back and forth in the comments. Like, people are so mad. Like,
So mad.
y'all, we all do this because we love basketball and we like the Thunder. Like,
I do it because I hate myself.
that's what. Like, you are spending time watching this podcast. to be
Cut
pissed
my
off.
life
Like,
into pieces. This is my last flu dort.
all right,
Gosh.
the Thunder. You're gonna finish the phrase.
No.
The Thunder win Game 7 because X happened. JD, the Thunder win Game 7, and we're going to the Western Conference Finals because what happened?
Because the Nuggets run out of gas
Okay,
after 2 7-game series.
Taylor, the Thunder win Game 7 and go to the Western Conference Finals because
They play the way that they have all season that got them to this point, which is solid defense, steals, deflections, and running out in transition.
Justin, the Thunder win Game 7 and go on to the Western Conference Finals because
XG graphic says because the Nuggets miss their flights.
Yikes. I'm going to stick with my answer from the pre-series preview. Thunder make shots.
I like it. The Thunder win Game 7 and go on to the Western Conference Finals because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has his crowning MVP playoff performance to lift his team and has his superstar moment.
Matt Noonan in the chat says because Dave Wu donated to the podcast.
Yes.
I like that answer.
That's how we log off for the night. Thank you guys for listening to the show.
Oscar wants to know if you're watching the game
Yeah, are you going to go away to
or go stand in the woods.
I've been saying I'm going to go stand in the woods, and then I'll just check the score after. I don't know yet. I'm not
Jacob's
going
going to sit in the woods and watch it on his phone.
No, I'm leaving the phone at home. I'm going to go out to the woods, and I'm going to come back a changed man.
Full head of hair.
I'm going to eat some mushrooms.
Wow.
You guys have a good Friday and Saturday. Hey, we're back Sunday night regardless of what happens. So
We'll see.
we'll see you then. Game 7, baby.
Woo!
It's in OKC. Let's go get it. Thunder up.